Private Ryan is one of those movies where even if you don't necessarily want to revisit it often, you still walk away understanding exactly why it's considered one of the most important war films ever made. And honestly, the opening 25 minutes alone could almost be reviewed as its own movie. The Omaha Beach sequence is one of the most intense, horrifying, and technically brilliant scenes Steven Spielberg has ever directed. It is not fun action or a Hollywood spectacle. It is chaos, it is confusion, it is terror, it is loud, disorienting, and almost unbearable at times. And that is certainly the point. Spielberg drops you in the middle of this battle with almost no sense of safety, clean geography, or heroic polish. You are not watching soldiers charge into glory. You are watching men trying to survive minute by minute in an absolute nightmare. The sound design is especially incredible. The bullets snapping through the air, the muffled moments after explosions, the screams, the water, the metal, the orders being shouted over noise, it all creates this feeling that you are trapped in the middle of something no person should ever have to experience. It is one of the rare movie sequences where the craft is so good you almost do not want to praise it in a normal movie review way, because the point is not entertainment. The point is to make you feel the weight of what happens. And that is where Saving Private Ryan really stands out. This is not a movie that romanticizes war. It honors sacrifice, yes, but it does not make war look clean or noble at the moment. It shows bravery, but it also shows fear. It shows brotherhood, but also trauma. It shows men doing heroic things, but often while they are scared, exhausted, angry, confused, or just trying to keep moving. After that opening, the movie shifts into its central mission. A group of soldiers sent to find Private Jack Ryan, whose brothers have been killed in the war, so he can be sent home to his mother. On paper, that premise could almost sound like a traditional patriotic rescue story, but the movie makes it more complicated than that. The question hanging over the whole film is whether one man's life is worth risking several others. Is the mission noble? Is it fair? Is it illogical? And the movie does not give an easy answer. That moral lesson is one of the strongest parts of the film. The soldiers themselves wrestle with it. Some understand the purpose, some resent it. Some think it's ridiculous that they've survived so much only to be sent across dangerous territory for one guy they've never met. And honestly, that makes sense. From their perspective, it's not some abstract symbol of American sacrifice. It is their lives on the line. They're tired, traumatized, and being asked to risk everything for someone who may not even want to leave. And Tom Hanks gives an excellent performance as Captain Miller. This is one of those performances where he's not trying to dominate every scene. He plays Miller as a man carrying an enormous amount of pressure under the surface. He's calm because he has to be. He gives orders because someone has to. But you can tell there is a cost to every decision he makes. Hanks brings this quiet sadness to the role. Miller is not a superhero soldier. He is a school teacher who's been turned into a wartime leader, and that detail matters because it reminds you that many of these men had ordinary lives before they were placed into extraordinary horror. The rest of the cast is also very strong. You understand the group dynamic. You understand who is cynical, scared, deeply committed, barely holding it together, and who has become numb because that is the only way to keep functioning. Spielberg's direction is, of course, incredible. This is easily one of his most technically accomplished films. The battle scenes are staged with a level of realism and intensity that changed how war movies were made afterward. The handheld camera work, washed out color palette, brutal editing, and the grounded production design all work together to strip away the glamour. There is no glossy adventure feeling here. The movie looks harsh and drained, like the life has been sucked out of the world. What makes Spielberg's work so powerful is that he does not only focus on the violence, he focuses on the aftermath, the silence after combat, the faces of men who have seen too much, the small conversations where they try to remember home, the way they use jokes, arguments, memories, and routine to keep themselves from falling apart. That is where the movie becomes more than just a war film. It becomes a story about the emotional and moral burden of survival. That being said, this is also where I land on my personal relationship with the movie. I am very glad I saw Saving Private Ryan, but it is not one I would casually watch again. And that is not really a criticism. Some movies are great because you want to revisit them over and over. Others are great because they're powerful, important, and deeply affecting, but also exhausting. Saving Private Ryan falls in that second category for me. I can respect the craft, I can admire the performances, I can understand its place in film history, but it is such a heavy experience I'm not myself throwing it on for a normal movie night. It is not just the violence, although the violence is definitely intense. It is the emotional weight of the whole thing. This is a movie about men being asked to give everything, sometimes not even fully understanding why. It is about sacrifice, duty, fear, grief, and the terrible cost of war. Even when the movie is beautiful, it's beautiful in a painful way. The final act is also incredibly strong. The battle in the town has a different feel from the Omaha Beach opening, but it is still tense and devastating. By that point, you know these characters. You've spent time with them, you've heard them argue, joke, pray, complain, and open up. So when the danger comes back around, it hits harder. If I had any criticisms, I would say the movie is so defined by its opening sequence that the rest of the film can almost feel like it's living in the shadow of that first 25 minutes. The opening is so powerful, groundbreaking, and overwhelming that nothing after it could quite match that initial impact. But it's also a strange criticism because the rest of the movie is still very well made. It's just hard to compete with such a great opening sequence. The pacing may also feel slower in the middle for some viewers, especially after such an intense beginning, but I do think that slower section is necessary. You need time with the characters. You need time to sit with the moral debate. You need time to feel the distance, exhaustion, and uncertainty of the mission. Without that middle section, the final act would not hit as hard. Overall, Saving Private Ryan is a great movie. It has a great cast, great directing, incredible craftsmanship, and one of the most unforgettable opening sequences ever put on film. It is not an easy watch, and for me, it is probably not a movie I'll revisit often. But I am glad I saw it, because it is the kind of film that helps you understand the power of cinema when it is used to confront history, sacrifice, and human suffering with seriousness and respect. It is not a comfort movie or casual rewatch, but it is absolutely a film worth seeing at least once. For me, Saving Private Ryan is a powerful, beautifully directed, emotionally draining war film, one I deeply respect, even if I do not feel the need to experience again anytime soon. For me, it's an A+, a 10 out of 10, and 5 out of 5 stars.